Poetry is that which sustains us, I believe. It's that which we look for when we traverse a narrow path, and it's the best companion on a wide road. I am so much grateful to two of my very good friends, and more than that, two great poets writing in English from Kerala, Soni Somarajan and Somarajan Nair, for sharing the space with me. Welcome to Poetry Salad, as the series is titled, which will be a series of videos wherein you will be fed spoonfuls of poetry. Thank you, Soni and Sonya, for joining us here today on LMG.
Poetry came to me at a very crucial juncture. I had lost all hope as I was diagnosed with a degenerative muscular disorder in my teenage years. Poetry just came out of the blue one day, and I was suddenly writing about so many things I couldn't say in a conversation with anyone. Back in military school, we boys had been brought up to take it on the chin, and we gently thought we had been seasoned in the fire to face the sunshine of life. I was caught by surprise, and I couldn't express what I felt that to anyone, trying to take it in my stride. Poetry was how I expressed my confusion, disappointment, anger, and frustration. It was a safety valve of sorts, uh, if I remember right, something which guided me to acceptance and the will to go further. It is still my lifesaver, a vent for the pressures I face, the sheer magnitude of how life itself is so surprising on a daily basis.
What is poetry for me? Um, I really don't know. I mean, I don't understand how it is that such a simple question, can throw a human being into so much of confusion. But I think that if I had to answer, I would say that poetry is experience for me. It is it is located somewhere in one of those intangible spaces in my soul. And this is very funny, saying this because in my younger days, in my student days, I didn't even like poetry. I thought it was a very wishy-washy thing. But but over a period of time, I suppose when life catches up, when experiences catch up, then you start to look for new ways of writing or new ways of thinking about how you feel, new ways of expression. And I suppose these are the things that give you that essential relief in life. So, probably poetry is relief as well. It is an incredibly therapeutic activity as well. So, I would say that, in a sense, whatever poetry I have written or I will write defines me, and by association, I define it. And I think that's what I think poetry is to me, an essential way of finding myself and answering the question, what do I want to say? That's what poetry is for me.
Among the many ideas that come, either from a stray word in a conversation or something I read, or perhaps drawn from the emotions that we go through in the daily business of living, I generally settle for what is prime enough to be developed further. I keep the idea in mind, and as I contemplate, the lines begin to form. As the thought progresses, there are several elements that emerge. Some may be lines that help with the structure, some may be fillers, some introduce the setting. I play with that then, writing down the coordinates on a page and then using them to build a narrative. As time goes by, one gains the experience to recognize what is a good idea, where your every cell enters an excited state as you come across one good idea.
How do I select an idea for a poem or a theme? Hmm. Can I be like the wizards in Harry Potter and say that the theme chooses me, I don't choose the theme? No, I don't think that's fair. Well, I suppose it sometimes just occurs as a thought, and then it grows and grows, and then it's too big to ignore. Then I just sit down and write it. I remember writing a poem. I don't know if it is any good or whatever, but I was at this traffic light and I was thinking about infidelity. It's a funny thing to think about a traffic intersection, but I was thinking about infidelity, and then when the traffic lights changed and my vehicle moved forward, I had to park by the side of the road, and I wrote those lines, and I think it began like, you are not my first and you certainly will not be my last. And yeah, but it goes on like that. But so there are poems that I have written like that. There are poems that have remained in my mind line after line for days, one of them even for a month, before I even gathered the courage to put it down on paper. So I suppose it's this whole idea of the affect. How exactly do you respond to certain situations? What kind of, let's say, kernels they leave within you for it to grow and blossom, or to not grow and fester. So sometimes I just write down lines in my phone, or on a sheet of paper, which then I promptly lose. I'm horrendous at such things, but yeah, I sometimes I think it over. So, and most of these ideas come to me at traffic intersections. When I look around and I think, where are all these people going? What must be their lives like? What are they thinking at this point of time? Are they all happy? Are we all happy? These and other doubts are the ones that lead me to my poems. So yeah, that's how I select a theme. When I want to.
I don't have a routine. I don't write every day, but most poets I know or have read about have a daily ritual, so to say. I'm not prolific either, and often wonder if I'll be able to write more if I try as in a regimented manner. I know so many who can write poems daily, good quality stuff too, when you think that they could just be an initial draft, considering the interval of time from the last poem. My book of poetry, First Contact, took several years to write, and I feel time has done its work too in how the poems were shaped and were written in different forms, considering it was a memoir in verse and I could only write as ideas came, not in chronological order, but how memories come to us in their own time. I'm comfortable to wait or not even wait consciously.
My writing routine. Anybody who knows me would not ask me that question because I don't have a routine, let alone a writing routine. I'm one of those we will take it as it comes kind of people. So, but if I had to sit down and write, I would do it sometime in the mid hours of the night. For me, the mid hours of the night begin at around 8 o'clock and end by the following early morning 1 or 2. Those are times when I do a lot of my writing because the mornings are spent in contemplation of what I should do. Then the afternoon comes, and then one has to rest because one is tired from all the ruminations about what one ought to have done in the morning. Then when you get up in the evening, then it's time for tea, and then you have to contemplate about how you have wasted an entire day, and then there's just the night. So, but for me, writing, there's also a great element of research involved in it. I mean, I prefer to be in the know of everything when I sit down to write. So, things from small definitions to, really big news about conglomerates or mining operations, all of these things matter to me. So, but I don't have a routine as such. I'm not a very disciplined person. But when I sit down to write, then there is just me and the words on the page and the entire world of knowledge that I can draw from thanks to the internet. I'm just not talking about poetry alone, but writing in any form. I think, yeah, that is pretty much my routine. But I rely a great deal on spontaneity as well because I'm not very good at planning either. So I always tell myself that if I were a cricket player, I would have been an opening batsman and every ball would have been touch and go. I would not be able to, really build an innings. So sometimes when I write poetry, I write a poem, I finish it, and I think this could well be my last poem. So I live in that constant fear of this being the last till there is another one that comes about. It is humbling, and at the same time, it also keeps me greatly grounded in the knowledge of my mortality on many levels. So sometimes while writing is liberating, it can be extremely frightening also. So I don't think with that kind of attitude it is even fair to have a routine.